So if you have got off to a shocking start in your Fantasy Premier League in the first 7 game weeks, today we've got a free hit team which I think is the best one going into game week 8. Now you might have already used your wild card, you might have a load of injuries, you might have a shocking team going into game week 8. So if you're wanting to use your free hit, which personally I wouldn't recommend, but if you are wanting to, this is the kind of team that I will be building. If you are an FPL fan, do hit a like on this video, it'd be very much appreciated. And do subscribe to this channel as well. It takes 1 second to hit subscribe. And if you want daily FPL videos in your subscriptions, then do hit subscribe on this page. So we'll just start off by explaining what a free hit, for people who don't know what a free hit, probably most people know what it is. But a free hit is where you get to change your team no matter how you like it for 1 game week, as long as it's in budget. And you can only use it for 1 game week. So your team would go back to your normal team after this free hit. Now, I think a free hit might be quite popular in Game Week 8. I've had a lot of comments on TikTok asking about a free hit team. And then also as well, next Game Week, it might be a quite popular week due to Man City playing Southampton next week. But normally a free hit is used on a double game week, where a double game week is where you have, for example, Man City might have 2 games in that week, which then counts for 1 game week. So that's normally where free hit could be used, or maybe in a blank game week as well. But if you are interested in a free hit team, and this is the kind of team that I'll be building. So the teams to target here, we've got a tier 1 and tier 2. Well, the tier 1 is teams that I'll be looking to target quite heavily. That is Man City, who play against Wolves, Arsenal, who play against Bournemouth, and the Spurs, who play against West Ham at home. I think all those 3 are, for me, the 3 standout fixtures. Those will be the teams that I'd be looking to target on a free hit if I was using it. And then the tier 2, which is just still teams that I would like to be targeting, but maybe not as essential as the tier 1 teams. Aston Villa, players who play against Fulham this week, which is an okay fixture. It's a decent enough fixture, but Fulham have been pretty impressive, to be fair, so far this season. And then Nottingham Forest players. Nottingham Forest do play against Crystal Palace in Game Week 8, which isn't a bad fixture considering the way that Crystal Palace has started. Also as well, you could be looking at players that are playing against Southampton. That's Leicester this week, and Everton do play Ipswich. So it's kind of the bottom teams are playing against each other, which kind of makes it a little bit awkward in a free hit team, because you want to be having like kind of a triple up and just standout players on a free hit team. But for me, I'd say the teams that I'd be most looking to target are especially Man City and Arsenal personally. So jumping straight into our free hit team, we have our defence. We'll be playing a 3 at the back formation. In goal, it would be Sells, who Nottingham Forest have been really solid at the back so far this season. Crystal Palace haven't looked great going forward. So for me, I'm banking on a Nottingham Forest clean sheet, which you might call that a little bit risky, maybe not going for one of the big 6 teams. But Nottingham Forest, I think, have a nice fixture against Crystal Palace. Also as well, it is worth noting that Liverpool do play Chelsea, so that's kind of ruling out a lot of the players there. Obviously, players in that game could do well, the likes of Cole Palmer, the likes of Mo Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, players that are highly owned, could do very well. But we've kind of avoided them in this video just because they have both got, you'd say, it's a hard fixture on paper. So Nottingham Forest have Crystal Palace, as I say, I think Sells is a really good option. Going on to the starting back 3 defenders, we have Gabriel. Now, I didn't want to double up on Arsenal because I actually think Bournemouth are very good going forward. You could go for a double up if you wanted to, but for me, I'm not all too confident in an Arsenal clean sheet, to be honest. So I'm just going for 1 Arsenal defender in Gabriel and hoping that he can maybe get an attacking contribution going forward. Then we have, as our next starting defender would be Gvardiol. Wolves away. It's not an easy fixture. Man City haven't got the best defence. So if you wanted to save money, you can maybe go down to Rico Lewis and hope that he starts, or you could just go for a completely different defender and then maybe go for another City attacker. But Gvardiol, Wolves away, I'd hope the City can get a clean sheet and Gvardiol might be able to get something going forward, as Wolves defensively are not the best at all. The third defender we will be starting would be Ola Aina for Nottingham Forest. Now again, this is kind of what I was talking about with Sells. Nottingham Forest got a very solid defence and it is a nice fixture, Crystal Palace at home. So I'd be personally backing a Nottingham Forest clean sheet. A little bit risky, yes, but clean sheets are just very hard to come by in general in the Premier League this season. And the 2 players on the bench would be Fast, who's just got a nice fixture against Southampton, who would be one of the players on the bench. And then Jacob Greaves will be just last on the bench at 4 million. So let me know what you think of that defence in the comments down below. Now moving on to our midfield, we will be playing a 4-man midfield. And we'll start off by going through one by one. We've got Bukayo Saka, very highly owned and a nice fixture against Bournemouth for me. He's a very important player to have in this team. He wouldn't be the captain, but he's just a great pick at 10 million against Bournemouth away. Bournemouth do concede a few goals, and Bukayo Saka is at the moment at the absolute front of what Arsenal are doing in terms of creativity. He's having a few shots as well. Maybe he needs to add a few goals to his game, a few more goals anyway. But assist-wise, he's been the best in the league, and for me, he's an absolute essential in this free hit team for me. Then we've gone for a man in form in Brennan Johnson. I wanted to get at least one Spurs midfielder. You could maybe even argue a James Maddison instead of Mbuemo if you wanted to, but we've gone for Mbuemo just because of United, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Against West Ham at home, West Ham defensively haven't been the best at all. And as I say, Spurs have looked really good going forward as well. And Brennan Johnson is the man in form. So 6.5 million as a punt on a 1 week on a free hit. He'd be one that's definitely in my team at 6.5 million, great value. And as I say, he's looked so good for Spurs in the last few weeks. Ever since he's deleted his social media, the guy's been on absolute fire. And he is kind of getting on the end of it. Solanke isn't in this team. Solanke seems to be the kind of player like Harry Kane was at Spurs. Obviously not, he's nowhere near as good as Harry Kane. But like he's turned in terms of how the fact he's dropping a bit deeper and being a more creator. Brennan Johnson is on the end of the chances. He's the one that's in the box, arriving into the box for the final pass and getting on the end of things. So Brennan Johnson for me is the best value Spurs asset in my opinion. Then we have Tyler Diblin, who will be sat on the bench, but it is a nice fixture against Leicester, to be honest. So I wouldn't even mind starting him if I had him on my main team, but definitely not in a free hit. Then we have Mbuemo against United. Now United defensively, I mean, they've been very indifferent. They've kept a lot of clean sheets, but they have also conceded a lot of goals as well at the same time. So for me, I think Brentford will get goals against United. Brentford have been scoring so many goals this season, and Mbuemo has scored pretty much every single game except from one game, I'm pretty sure. Well, it might be 2 games, but Mbuemo's record has been amazing this season. And to go without him would be very risky, just the fact that he's so highly owned by everybody else. So I would 100% be going for Mbuemo in your FPL teams. If you on a wild card, on a free hit, or on a transfer in general, Mbuemo for me will be right at the top of the list just because it's very risky going without him at this point. Then we've gone for a big punt in this as our final midfielder is Phil Foden. Now, not highly owned at all, but if he's starting that game against Wolves, it's honestly such a great differential pick because Wolves have been so terrible defensively since the start of this season, and Man City, we know what they're like, how good they are going forward, and with De Bruyne looking like he might not be fit for it as well, Foden is looking like he's going to be starting the game. He's started to get more starts as the season's gone on, and I do think he'll be an amazing differential pick this week for Man City. So that completes my Man City double up, but there will be one more. Obviously, we all know who that's going to be as our final player. But Phil Foden, great differential option and someone that I really like. Maybe not as a transfer in, but on a free hit team, 100% I will be looking at Phil Foden. And then going on to the front three now, this will be all three of these players will be playing. The first one is Liam Delap against Everton. Now, I mean, I'm not sure on the situation with Branthwaite. We'll have to see how he's like after the international break. You could maybe try and upgrade him to a Calvert-Lewin if you fancy Everton attack over the Ipswich attack in that game against each other. But Liam Delap has been absolutely on fire recently. His XG is quite low, but he's taking his chances when he gets them. So, as I say, this is a really nice fixture as well for Ipswich coming up at home as well. I back Ipswich to maybe get a goal or two against Everton, and Liam Delap generally seems to be involved in the Ipswich goals right now. So I don't mind him at 5.6 million. He's a cheaper option that can, he's an affordable option that can kind of get you these other players like the likes of Saka, Foden, Haaland, and Watkins, who we're going to talk about in a minute. But I think Liam Delap is a really good enabler. You can maybe look at Jimenez as well for Fulham, but I just think in isolation, this game for this fixture, I think Delap's probably got the better fixture over Jimenez who's playing against Aston Villa. But Jimenez is also a good shout as well, in my opinion. As a budget enabler as well, that is, just because he's only 5.6 million as well. Then we've got Erling Haaland. He will be the captain in the free hit team. Absolute no-brainer, to be honest. Great fixture against Wolves. I know he's blanked in the last 2 games and it's been very, very frustrating. But there's no doubt about it. Erling Haaland has got probably the best fixture this week. He's going to be captained by the most players, you'd imagine, this week in FPL. So I'd absolutely go for Erling Haaland and put him as your captain in a free hit team. But if you think he's going to blank again, then fair enough. But I just don't see it happening against this Wolves defence, which has been very, very poor so far this season. So then we've got as our final forward, Ollie Watkins. We're going to be discussing as well some players that you can maybe have as alternative players as well, some players that I've not put in this team. But Ollie Watkins for me would be a very good pick. I know he's quite expensive at 9 million, but great fixture against Fulham away, you'd say, for Aston Villa going forward. They'll definitely be able to get at least a couple of goals, in my opinion. And Ollie Watkins has been decent enough so far this season. He's not been absolutely amazing. He's not filled me with confidence, but he has still got returns. And as I say, Fulham, I do think he'll be able to continue that and maybe get 1 or 2 more returns. And I know he is expensive, but I just think if you're looking at all the forwards, he is a very good option. You can maybe argue Kai Havertz. You can maybe bring him for a little bit cheaper than upgrade elsewhere. So that would be one of my alternative players. Watkins to Kai Havertz. You could also go Watkins to Solanke if you back Solanke against West Ham. And then that gives you the kind of upgrade then that you can maybe do. You could swap Mbuemo out for Maddison maybe if you wanted to. And then defensively, you could also do an upgrade in, say you went Watkins down to Solanke. You could then do Sells up to Raya. You could also go for another Arsenal defender or a better, or maybe even if you wanted to go for an Alexander-Arnold against Chelsea, you could even go for that. You can definitely upgrade the defence just by downgrading Watkins to Solanke. That can massively upgrade your team in other areas. So let me know what you think of that team in the comments. Will you be using your free hit chip? I'm surprised that there has been a few people commenting saying that they want to see a free hit team and they're interested in free hitting. I wouldn't really recommend it personally, but it depends how much of a mess your team's in, I suppose. But I definitely wouldn't be looking to use it this week. But let me know what you think of this team in the comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.